And that is why Long Ring Long Land is the best arc in all of One Piece.
Of course. Wait, who's speaking right now? Is that Trump? I missed it.
And that is why Long Ring Long Land is the best arc in all of One Piece. No cap.
Be that as it may, it's still going in the C tier.
Screw you, Obama.
Quit complaining. It's
actually a funny arc. They stretch a pretty comedic, stupid arc longer in the anime. And the manga is pretty good.
better than it deserves, and you know it.
You just don't appreciate the true genius of the masterfully written Foxy.
You're illiterate.
Your mom's illiterate.
Gentlemen, please, we're all Nakama here.
Foxy for Straw Hat.
Now, I know this is still fresh for all of us, but we have to decide.
This fucking sounds like fucking 3 One Piece anime YouTubers in a call. Foxy for Straw Hat. What's that guy with like the fucking mud logia? I still think he's joining the crew.
Where to rank the Wanakuni arc.
This won't take long. S tier. Easily Oda's best work to date. An
False.
epic adventure that sits at the very pinnacle of the series.
Kaido's overrated, but Wano was pretty cool.
Jesus Christ, I can't believe this crap.
How could you possibly disagree?
I agree that it sits at the pinnacle of mid. Wanakuni is the most overrated arc in the entire history of manga. It took 4 years to punch a fish into the ground. That's longer than my entire presidency.
It was only half the length of mine.
Yeah, Donald, this seems like a you issue.
And Kaido wasn't just a fish. He was a Dragon Oni kind of thing.
Thing? You don't even know what he is. Maybe if Oda didn't rush his flash...
Yeah, give us a fucking good black story. Yo, W. Trump. He's let him cook, bro.
back, we wouldn't have this problem.
I will agree that Oda could have given more time and development to Kaido, but Wanakuni had already gone on for so long by then.
I think he got plenty of time.
Did you even read the arc, Sleepy Joe? Falling asleep next to a volume of manga doesn't count as reading.
Like you can read. You were anime only up until last year.
That's because I appreciate voice acting and seeing things in color. Unlike you, I didn't grow up watching things.
Honestly, the anime is pretty fucking slowly paced. It's just read the manga, boys. But yeah, no, I mean, the voice acting and the music does enhance certain scenes for sure.
In black and white.
Donald, the problem is the pacing. I agree that the voice actors add a lot to the anime, but every episode is so dragged out.
So it's no different to the manga Wanakuni then. Worst arc of all time, obvious C tier.
How could it be both the worst and a C tier?
I think C tier is a little low. There was a lot to like about Wanakuni. Act 1 was superb. The Odin flashback is a crowning moment of the series.
Oh my god, the flashbacks in general are the best parts. With fucking Odin and Roger and fucking, oh my god.
And the increased focus on Zoro was much appreciated.
What focus? Oda revealed
Oh my god, he was there. He's there so much more than Whole Cake when he wasn't there. Am I right, boys?
Zoro's parents in an SBS for Christ's sake. And whatever happened to the Grim Reaper, that plot line went nowhere. Worst arc of all time, obvious D tier.
I agree. After building up so much focus on Zoro, Oda really dropped the ball there. But
I think Zoro has the worst backstories in One Piece. I mean, out of the main crew, I mean.
overall, Wanakuni is still a phenomenal arc, and you know it.
Phenomenal crap.
Donald, what about Gear 5th? Surely you can't deny how amazing that was?
That fucking hits hard, Gear 5th. It's so perfect for Luffy.
Yeah, Gear 5th was great, but there's a kernel of sweet corn in every big, beautiful dump.
Weird analogy, but okay.
I actually thought Gear 5th was a bit too goofy. I liked it a lot better when Luffy fought seriously.
Are you serious? Gear 5th was the only redeeming part of this entire arc and you didn't like it?
I just wanted the climax of the arc to be a bit more serious. I mean, we're talking about Luffy finally defeating an Emperor of the Sea.
Yonko.
What?
It's Yonko.
What the hell is a Yonko?
It means 4 emperors, Yubaka. Learn Japanese.
In the official translation, it's 4 emperors.
In the official translation, it's Zolo, Joe. Effing Zolo, for Christ's sake. How can you read that garbage?
Because it's the most accurate translation to convey the actual story.
Yeah, well, in the story, it's supposed to be Zoro and not Zolo.
Nakama, please. We're supposed to be talking about Wanakuni.
Worst arc of all time. Obvious E tier.
Baraki's putting it even lower now. He's obviously trolling.
Joe, someone disagreeing with your trash takes doesn't make them a troll. It makes them a perfectly well-balanced human being. I mean, for crap's sake, if people knew about your trash takes in 2020, then I wouldn't have lost the election.
Donald, I'm going to need you to justify your opinion here. I personally wasn't the greatest fan of Wanakuni, but you need to articulate what you didn't like about it.
It was too short.
What do you mean too short? You just said it was too long.
It was too long until it was too short.
Donald, you're making less sense than the...
You were too sad. It kind of makes sense. This arc is so long. This arc is so long. This arc is so long. But they rushed the backstory, so it's too short.
filler arc where Luffy fought a dugong.
That was a perfect dugong.
Joe, I'm actually in Donald's camp here. I do think the ending of...
Oh my god, I'm an idiot. I didn't even make the display capture bigger.
Wano Kuni was very rushed. Everything after Gear 5th was paced very strangely, as if Oda was desperate to just move on and forgot to properly end the story.
I think it was paced just fine.
You would, you dick rider. You probably have an annual pass to Oda's house just to ride his dick every day.
You and I both know he's too busy to be giving dick rides, Donald.
Wrong. His dick doesn't draw the manga, Joe.
How do you know that, Donald? Maybe that's how he gets so much.
Let's go back. I didn't hear this again.
After Gear 5th was paced very strangely, as if Oda was desperate to just move on and forgot to properly end the story.
I think it was paced just fine.
You would, you dick rider. You probably have an annual pass to Oda's house just to ride his dick every day.
You and I both know he's too busy to be giving dick rides, Donald.
Wrong. His
I
dick
love how
doesn't
that's his response. He's too busy. Otherwise, I would.
draw the manga, Joe.
How do you know that, Donald? Maybe that's how he gets so much done every day.
Nakama, please. We need to get back on track. Now, the most disappointing thing about Wano Kuni to me is that Yamato didn't join the crew.
Yamato was never going to join the crew. You were delusional if you believed that.
Dude, why do I agree with every one of Trump's takes? I guess we need to fucking make One Piece great again. Am I right, boys?
Wrong. Oda clearly set Yamato up as a crew member.
Then why isn't Yamato on the crew right now, Joe?
Because Oda is clearly planning something else for Yamato down the line, you idiot.
Dick rider.
Illiterate.
Personally, I was more disappointed that Carrot didn't join the crew.
Oh my God.
Rock, you can't
Shut the hell up about Carrot.
be serious.
Oda had been building Carrot up since Whole Cake Island. She was the obvious choice and would have made an S-tier lookout.
Only if the S stands for shit character.
I agree with Donald. Carrot had potential, yes, but Oda pushed her into the background during Wano Kuni and made it clearer than Absalom that she wouldn't be joining.
I disagree. I think Oda could have made it work.
Spoken like a true furry.
That means nothing coming from someone who unironically loves Foxy. Your opinion means less to me than Lelouch Kingdom did to Emu.
He's the best villain in the series, and you have yet to make a convincing argument otherwise. Foxy for Straw Hat.
What about the Odin flashback? Surely we can all agree that was amazing.
Oh yeah, peak fiction, one of the best written characters in all of One Piece, and it was wasted on a flashback.
I still vividly recall the moment where they landed on Laugh Tale as one of the greatest in the series.
You know what would have made Wano a decent arc?
Here we go again.
Wano would be decent if the raid failed.
Barack, he's doing it again.
The raid should have failed. It was the only possible way to create a sense of narrative tension at that point.
Donald, the only way the raid would have failed is if it was one of your businesses.
F you too, Joe.
Donald, we've been over this on our weekly One Piece podcast. What purpose would the raid failing serve?
It would add stakes to the narrative. Delicious, juicy, tension-filled narrative stakes.
And taking another 2 years to publish a whole second raid.
I don't mind waiting for peak.
You just complained that Wano Kuni was too long already.
Is your senile mind completely incapable of comprehending the nuances of storytelling? It was too long in some places and too short in other places.
You're just upset that your headcanon didn't come true.
No, I'm upset because Oda fell off.
Nakama, please. We all know that Oda has not fallen off. After all, Egghead Island is a superb arc so far.
Egghead is going hard.
Yeah, peak fiction, easily one of the best written situations in all of One Piece, except it's painfully easy to figure out who the traitor is.
The alliance between Luffy and Rob Lucci was unexpected but perfect for the moment. And the mystery aspect is a very
Did I just get spoiled by fucking Biden? I'm like 2 chapters or 3 chapters behind. I just got spoiled by Biden.
take on the series.
Good. You see, no one has fallen off. Oda may have just
Fuck
had
you, Biden.
a bit of a stumble during the finale of Wano Kuni.
Worst arc.
You're the worst arc.
Wrong. I accomplished more in my 4 years of presidency than Oda did with his 4 years of Wano.
Why is it so gold? Why is it so gold?
Seriously saying that Wano Kuni was worse than Syrup Village? The arc that turns the most people off the entire series?
I will admit that Usopp's design is not for everyone and that Kuro's plan was stupid. However, Syrup Village was still peak Oda before he got bogged down in unnecessarily long and convoluted story structures.
Donald, it takes time to tell a good story. We needed that time to properly explore the vassals.
The vassals? Oh please, Kiku didn't even visit Izo's grave. Oda barely gave them any development and their fight against Kaido was a colossal disappointment.
I really enjoyed Raizo's fight.
Oh please, that waste of time? All they did was stand there doing nothing for 30 chapters.
It was a reference to the will of Kazuki Odin, you dumbass. He stood there boiling in the pot for his vassals, and Raizo standing in the flames was his own personal trial. You clearly understand nothing about narrative and character depth.
It's a fight that grows on you in retrospect. Although I agree it may seem a bit underwhelming compared to the worst generation versus the Emperors.
Oh yeah, peak fiction. One of the best fights
Yo, Wizard Track and a large pigeon. Thanks for the follow, boys. Welcome in.
in all of One Piece. Except it's a shame they ruined it by having Luffy fight Kaido one-on-one.
That fight was the culmination of everything we as fans had been waiting for during the past 10 years.
Wait, Sleepy Joe, who's your favorite member of the worst
I
generation?
thought the Gear 5 Luffy fight versus Kaido was great.
Don't tell me it's Trafalgar Law.
It's obviously Trafalgar Law. He has the coolest design, the most OP devil fruit, and deserves his own spin-off series after One Piece is over.
I couldn't think of a more mid opinion.
Well, who's your favorite member, Donald?
Eustace Captain Kidd.
You mean useless Captain Mid?
You take that back.
Oh, please. Law carried Kid throughout the whole Big Mom fight, and you know it. I'd say it's the most disappointing thing I'd ever seen from Kid. However, now that he's fighting Shanks, I'm sure he'll top that disappointment in no time.
Kid low diff Shanks.
You're delusional, just like all Kid fans.
I wasn't delusional when I slept with your mother last night.
Yes, you were. My mother's dead, dumbass.
Nakama, please. We still have to finalize the ranking for the Wano arc. Now, I don't think it's perfect by any means, but it's still a fantastic achievement of storytelling within the manga medium. I suggest putting it in B tier for now and seeing how it appreciates with time.
Too low.
Too high.
Which means it's just right. Now, next up we have the Marineford arc.
Worst arc of all time. Obvious F tier.
Marineford is amazing. Shut the hell up. Okay. U.S. presidents debate Zoro versus Sanji.
And that is why Gecko Moria is objectively the strongest and most physically attractive character in all of One Piece.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on that.
You're just jealous of his thick, girthy neck, Obama.
Donald, can you stop derailing the podcast? I'm supposed to be watching Film Red with Jill at 6 o'clock.
More like Film Brown because it's absolute excrement, complete waste of time. Nobody asked for One Piece the musical, and Shanks was barely in it.
Nakama, please. We were supposed to be taking viewer questions and not dwelling on fecal matter or Gecko Moria's uncomfortable phallic similarities.
He keeps talking about penises, Barack.
Swiftly moving on. Our next email question comes from Hillary's private server 44. Who do you think would win in a fight, Zoro or Sanji?
Zoro.
Sanji.
Are you effing serious, Joe?
Okay, Sanji. I like Sanji more, but Zoro wins. Come on, boys.
Confirmed that Zoro was the second strongest in the crew by putting him in the chapter 1031 color spread.
Oda didn't confirm anything. He just drew all the vice captains.
Then why did Oda draw Beppo, Joe?
What?
Why did Oda draw Beppo as the vice captain of the Heart Pirates? You should know as well as I do that Beppo, Penguin, and Shachi are the joint vice captains of the crew.
Don't you ever dare question my knowledge of the Heart Pirates, Donald.
Answer the question, Joe. Why did Oda draw Beppo?
Well, I guess it's because...
It's because he's clearly the strongest of the three, thus confirming...
I don't know, Briggs. Zoro has no feats better than Sanji tanking Queen. I think it'd be close, of course. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's a reason why Zoro's goal is directly tied to being strong, like being the strongest swordsman. So he's actually working towards that. While Sanji's like, I want to find them all blue. He's the cook of the crew. He is into women and simps for women. He's a lot of other stuff going on. While Zoro's just like, I want to be strong. And he's the vice captain, or he's the vice captain of the crew. I also think, how do I say this? Obviously, Zoro's better with armament hockey and has swords, while Sanji uses his not bare feet, but he doesn't have weapons, and he's better with observation hockey. I don't know. I think Zoro's slightly stronger. I think with every single arc, usually Zoro ends up taking on someone slightly stronger than Sanji. It's just the way it is.
That Zoro is the second strongest member of the Straw Hats by association.
Donald, you and I both know that polar bears are banned as a method of power scaling after last time.
You're just mad that I'm worth more polar bears than you, Joe.
Nakama, please. We all know that Zoro is the vice captain of the crew. However, that doesn't mean that he is necessarily more powerful than Sanji.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Barack.
Joe, for Christ's sake, don't thank him. He's just taking pity on you for being a Snanji fan.
Snanji. It's Sanji, you illiterate. You don't even remember his name.
I don't need to remember the names of mid-characters, Joe. It takes up space that I could be using for peak.
Sanji fans don't need pity. Our boy got an entire mega arc dedicated to him during Whole Cake Island. Meanwhile, what was Zoro doing? Sweet F all, that's what.
He was busy preparing for the Wano arc. You know, that thing everyone else was meant to be doing until your shitty cook ruined everything and completely derailed the story for 2 whole years.
Now, Donald, Whole Cake Island wasn't so bad. Sure, it lacked the satisfying conclusion of most One Piece arcs, but that in and of itself was a much-needed fresh take on the series.
Oh, yeah.
Hot take, boys. I like Whole Cake better than Wano. I like Whole Cake better than Wano.
Yeah, peak fiction. All that happens is an obese grandmother screaming about wedding cake for 30 chapters, and you dick writers want to give Oda the Nobel Prize for literature.
Did you even read the Luffy versus Katakuri fight? That was worth the price of admission alone.
Of course it was a great fight. It was the only part of the arc that didn't have Sanji weighing it down.
Donald, I swear I will smack you harder than Luffy punched St. Charlos at the human auction house.
Just try it, Joe. Then I'll become Marine Admiral Kizaru and kick you harder than he kicked Basil Hawkins on Sabouti.
Just try it, dumbass. I'll order a buster call on Trump Tower.
How are you going to do that, Sleepy Joe? You need to actually be awake to use the golden Den Mushi.
Nakama, please. I think it's a
Why
bit
is this so good?
culturally insensitive to be speaking about buster calls so lightly, lest we forget what happened to the population of O'Hara in Nico Robin's flashback. O'Hara
O'Hara
lives.
lives.
I'm sorry, Barack, but I'm not a garbage man, and as a result, I don't have the landfill space.
I love how they all just said O'Hara lives. That's amazing. Yo, the new Egghead Island arc is so good.
For all of Donald's trash talks.
Calm down, Joe. Maybe Donald has a point. I agree that Whole Cake Island was a fantastic vehicle to explore Sanji as a character, but I can see how some people would be disappointed that he didn't get a fight.
Who could he fight? He's a loser.
Sanji could have taken out anyone on that island, and you know it.
Oh, yeah. You're telling me that Sanji could have beaten Charlotte Katakuri? Come on, Joe. You should have enough future sight to know how badly I'm going to beat your ass in that pathetic argument.
Okay, maybe not Katakuri.
And what? You think he could have beaten Big Mom? She's Yonko level, for Christ's sake.
She is a
Emperor
Yonko.
level.
Oh, my God. Don't start this again, Joe.
What?
The official translation says emperor, so it's emperor level.
The official translation
I thought he
says
said Admiral for a second. I was about to lose my mind.
you're a dick rider. Are we going to stick to that as well?
It doesn't say that,
I would
Donald.
actually listen to this podcast. If this was a real, 1 hour AI generated podcast, I would fucking listen to it.
Yes, it does. Right here. Volume
day.
90, page 45. Joe Biden is a dick rider.
It doesn't say that. The official translator, Stephen Paul, would never
Stephen
distort
Paul.
the story
It's
such a
always
stupid
Stephen
head
Paul
canon.
with you. If you love Stephen Paul so much, why don't you marry him and have a series of poorly but officially translated babies all named Zolo?
Donald, I don't think it's fair to instantly dismiss Sanji. Perhaps during Whole Cake Island, he was no match for Katakuri. But post-Wano Kuni Sanji is a different matter entirely.
Barack's spitting pure facts. Sanji beat Queen during the raid on Onigashima. That clearly makes him commander level.
Yonko Commander 2, maybe? But Zoro beat King. That obviously makes him Yonko Commander 1 level, if not outright Yonko level.
You're full of malarkey,
my
Donald.
God.
You and I both know that Zoro is not emperor level. He's not even an emperor.
You don't have to be a Yonko to have Yonko level power, Joe.
I mean, he was able to survive an attack from Kaido. But he can't kill Kaido. Shut the hell up.
Yes, you do. Otherwise, we wouldn't call it emperor level.
I think it varies from emperor to emperor, remembering that Buggy is now considered one of the 4 emperors.
That's right, Obama. That means that Buggy is officially stronger than Sanji.
Malarkey. Sanji low diffs Buggy and mid diffs Zoro.
Nakama, please.
Yo, Bug Knight. Thanks for the tier 1, homie.
If you two can't get along, then I'm going to go full Shanks on this Paramount War and whip out my Conqueror's hockey.
And that's another thing. Sanji doesn't even have Conqueror's hockey.
He doesn't need it. He has genetic enhancements spliced into his bloodline elements from Vinsmoke Judge.
So what you're saying is that even with the world's greatest scientific hacks, Sanji still can't stand up to Zoro.
That's not what I'm saying, Donald, and you know it.
You're saying that before his enhancements awakened, Sanji was somehow even more pathetic than he already is.
Again, I did not say that.
You're saying you're a Sanji dick rider, Joe. Just admit it.
I've never ridden a dick in my life, Donald. And if I did, it wouldn't be Sanji's because he's a 2D character, you illiterate.
Nakama, please, let's all just calm down and stop getting the video demonetized. Donald, for what it's worth, I do think that Zoro is stronger than Sanji.
Do not betray me, Barack.
However, I think the fight would be a lot closer than you think. It's definitely a high diff matchup.
Oh, please. The only thing that's high diff is Sleepy Joe struggling to stay awake during this debate.
No, the only thing that's high diff is getting you to go a day without stuffing your face with McDonald's.
A day without McDonald's is a day wasted, Joe.
About as wasted as Zoro would be after fighting Sanji.
I think Joe raises a fair point. Again, if this were pre-time skip Sanji we were talking about, then it would obviously go to Zoro no contest. However, post-time skip Sanji has received significant buffs in speed, power, and durability.
You know what else he received during the time skip?
Don't you dare, Donald.
He also received a very pretty dress from the Okama.
We agreed not to talk about the dress.
You know who's never worn a dress? Zoro.
Barack, he won't stop talking about the dress.
Donald, there's nothing wrong with wearing a dress. Even Luffy briefly wore a dress during One Piece film Gold.
Yeah, for comic relief, which is exactly what Sanji is. Dress-wearing comic relief. Even on Egghead Island, his new outfit is a joke.
Sanji doesn't need a cool outfit, Donald. He's a character of substance and isn't defined purely by aesthetics like Zoro.
Oh yeah, peak character. The biggest challenge he has to overcome in every arc is figuring out which pair of boobs to simp over.
Joe, I'm with Donald on this one. Sanji's behavior towards women in the series
Oh my god, Obama, shut the hell up. Why am I actually listening to this seriously? Why am I actually listening to this seriously? I think Sanji's such a good character. But get ready. It's 2023. Let's hear Obama.
is a relic of a time gone by. The pervy jokes don't work as well for me in 2023 as they did in the early 2000s.
You know who doesn't
Facts.
need to simp to get women? Zoro. He's such a Giga Chad
All One Piece talk is serious.
alpha that they all just come to him. Hiyori, Tashigi, Viola.
Viola was not attracted to Zoro, dumbass.
Joe, every woman is attracted to Zoro.
But she spent most of her time with Sanji.
Yeah, but she was thinking about Zoro.
No, she was thinking about how to save her kingdom from the tyranny of Doflamingo.
Oh, please. She wasn't even thinking about that before the Straw Hats arrived. Did you know that Viola had sex with Doflamingo, Joe?
You're making that up.
It's in the SBS, Joe. Learn to read.
I hate to say it, but Donald is correct. In the SBS of Volume 83, Oda confirmed that Viola had a, quote, adult relationship with Doflamingo, adding that Dressrosa is a, quote, truly passionate country.
I don't blame him. If Viola were my daughter, I'd probably date her as well.
Viola was not Doflamingo's
What?
daughter, Donald.
Then she's a nasty woman.
Barack, did he just say he wanted to date his daughter?
I never said that. You're being senile again, Joe.
I heard what I heard.
Check the recording, Joe. I never said that.
I will check the recording, Donald, and then I'll expose you online for desecrating the integrity of the Dressrosa arc.
Oh, yeah, peak fiction. That's what Dressrosa isn't. 2 whole years for that garbage.
I think we can all agree that Dressrosa was a little tough to read weekly. However, as a condensed experience, it is nothing less than a fantastic arc.
Don't waste your words, Barack. He was anime only when Dressrosa was being published. Watch. He's
Dude,
probably...
Dressrosa took up my entire high school anime career. Like, literally, I started high school, I was watching Dressrosa. Grade 12, I finished Dressrosa.
going to
It was
complain
like
about
over 3 years.
the Rebecca flashback.
I actually really enjoyed the Rebecca flashback.
Even though they cut back to it over 40 times in the anime. Come on, man, there were more Rebecca flashbacks than presidents of the United States.
Reusing content is a smart business move, Joe, but I wouldn't expect you to understand that.
It was meaningless repetition that did nothing but make me emotionally numb to the plight of Rebecca and Soldier San. I get the need to pad out weekly episodes, but why keep coming back to that one particular flashback?
Because it was a perfect flashback. It was a constant reminder that at the heart of One Piece are the feelings of the people and the friends we meet along the way.
If this is what actual presidential debates were like, I'd actually watch them.
Donald is making a surprising amount of sense here.
Plus, how can you not be on board with the story of a father and his hot daughter?
Barack, he just did it again.
Don't change the subject, Joe. We were talking about Zoro winning a fight against Sanji.
That is not a foregone conclusion, Donald. Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji are called the Monster Trio for a reason.
Now, Joe, we all know that the Monster Trio is a fan-made term and not an official title. And in fact, post-Wano, there's an argument to be made that it's the Monster Quartet with the addition of Jinbei.
Oh my God.
Barack, do you hear what you're saying? There is no evidence whatsoever to equate Jinbei to anyone in the Monster Trio.
Come on, Joe. Jinbei is a fisherman karate master, a veteran hockey user, and he used to be a warlord of the sea.
Shichibukai,
Stop it with your weird malarkey.
learn Japanese.
I'm not saying that Jinbei is necessarily more powerful than the
Learn Japanese, Baka.
Monster Trio. I'm just saying that he should definitely be in the discussion.
Horrible take.
I agree with Donald. This is a rare Barack L, and it reminds me of that time where Sanji and Zoro had to team up in the groggy ring to win the Davy back fight.
Foxy for Straw Hat.
Nakama, please. We still have yet to come to a satisfactory
Let's go.
conclusion regarding
This
the
is
issue of
amazing.
Zoro versus Sanji. For what it's worth, I think that Zoro is both stronger and more driven. However, Sanji is both faster and a demonstrably better tactician. If they were to fight in the series, then I suspect that it would be a coin flip outcome.
I'm not happy about this, Barack.
Take the dub, Joe. It's better than Sanji deserves.
Now, our next question comes from Obama Llama 69. Who do you think would win in a fight, Shanks or Mihawk?
Mihawk.
Shanks.
Oh, no.
Are you effing serious, Joe?
Are you?
And that is how I enacted an
Oh my god, there's a number 3.
executive order mandating that the One Piece manga be a part of.
These videos remind me of the classic One Piece version with you guys. It is oddly similar takes is the worst part. Oddly similar takes. Boys, drop a follow if you're new. Come over to Kick and drop a follow as well if you want. We have like 12 viewers there right now as well. I need to go and get a beverage. You are a bomb. Oh my god, I actually am. I agreed with a lot of Trump's takes in the first one. But towards the end of the first one and the second one, I was like, I don't know about this. Although I still think Zoro would beat Sanji. Anyway, I'm gonna go get a beverage. It's fucking hot in here.
Big deal, Obama.
And that is how I enacted an executive order mandating that the One Piece manga be a part of all public and private school curriculum.
Let's fucking go.
Big deal, Obama. I did basically the same thing during my administration.
Yes, Donald, and as we all know, the Supreme Court upheld the decision that Boku no Pico was not appropriate study material for minors.
Cowards. I appointed 3 Supreme Court judges, and they couldn't even give me Boku no Pico.
You know, I've never actually seen Boku no Pico. Should I watch it with Jill tonight?
No.
Yes. Trust me, Joe, it's peak fiction.
Yeah, Boku no Pico. That's the one about the heroes, right?
It is the story of my personal heroes, yes.
All right, Nakama, it is now time for the weekly One Piece presidential podcast quiz.
Oh, yeah, quiz time, Joe. I'm going to kick your ass again and become the quiz king.
Not this week, Donald. I've been rereading the series up to the end of Wano, so everything is fresh in my mind.
Oh, yeah, Joe, your mind is about as fresh as one of Kanjuro's cabbages. Let me put this in a way you might understand, Joe. When it comes to One Piece knowledge, I am Dr. Vegapunk, all of his satellites, Punk Records, the Gorosei, and Imu-sama. And you, Joe, you're Bocce.
Bocce. Who the hell is Bocce?
Oh, my God. Bocce is obviously the fly that Full Body put into the soup at Baratier to try and humiliate Sanji. Not that Sanji needed the help.
I told you to stop calling him Sanji, Donald. He's a prince of the Germa Kingdom in North Blue, and you will respect his name.
Joe, what's all this yelling about?
I'm recording the podcast, Jill.
Well, keep it down. I'm trying to watch One Piece Movie 6, Baron Omatsuri and the Secret Island.
How could you be watching One Piece Movie 6 without me, Jill? You know that Baron Omatsuri is my favorite.
Yes, Joe, I also enjoy it. The unique animation style and visionary direction of Mamoru Hosoda easily makes it one of the best films in the entire One Piece cinematic catalog. But I can't even get through the opening credits without you yelling.
I'm sorry, Jill. It's Donald. He keeps calling Sanji Snanji.
Oh, is that Donald irritating you again, Joe? Do you want me to speak to him?
No, Jill, I don't want you to speak to him.
Well, all right then, but you tell him to lay off my precious little Joseph, or I'll kick him in the sabos harder than Boa Hancock kicked that baby seal on Amazon Lily.
Yes, Jill, I'll tell him.
All right.
That
Well,
baby seal deserved it.
enjoy your podcast, sweetie.
All right, guys, I'm back.
Welcome back, sweetie.
Shut up, Donald.
Did Mommy kiss your boo-boos all better?
Donald, she's my wife, not my mother.
Same difference?
Nakama, please. The weekly One Piece presidential podcast quiz has been kept waiting long enough. Now, you both know the rules. I will ask a question about the One Piece universe, and whoever buzzes in first gets to answer. Donald,
All right,
would you
boys.
now please
Let's do
test
it.
your buzzer?
Whip.
Excellent. And Joe, would you please test your buzzer?
What the hell was that?
It was my buzzer, Donald.
Oh, thank God. For a second, I thought that someone sailed to Jaya Island and violated a Southbird.
Shut up, Donald. I couldn't figure out how to record over the darn thing, so I'm stuck with the first noise I made.
Joe, it's fine. Nobody's judging you.
I'm judging you, Joe.
Barack, he's judging me.
And you know what else, Joe? You know One Piece Movie 6? Baron Omatsuri and the Secret Island? It's over.
Which fucking movie is that? I swear I've watched all the movies. I don't remember that at all. I like One Piece film Gold, though.
Overrated.
Oh,
That's
that
my favorite one. Which one was that, chat? The dark one. It was the one with Shiki, maybe? No. No clue.
that's it,
All right, boys, we gotta rewatch them all. Let's go.
Donald. You've officially crossed my red line. Baron Omatsuri is an undisputed masterpiece. The unique animation and visionary direction of
my
Mamoru
God.
Hosoda easily makes it one of the best films in the entire One Piece cinematic catalog.
The main villain was a flower, Joe. An effing flower.
What do you have against flower power, Donald? I'd like to see you say that to Marine Admiral Green Bull.
Oh, yeah, Peak Admiral. The guy who ran away and pissed his pants at the mere suggestion of Shanks.
Everyone pisses their pants in front of Shanks, you Gecko Moria look-alike.
Oh, please. Comparing me to Gecko Moria? That's pretty rich coming from someone who looks even more like a corpse than Soul King Brook.
I'm not just comparing you to Gecko Moria, Donald. I'm comparing you to Gecko Moria after having invoked Shadow's Asgard because you're the dumbest, fattest, and most useless form possible.
F you, Joe! After I win this quiz, I'll make you vanish faster than Stealth Black Snanji in a women's restroom.
That's right, Nakama, the quiz. Let's all focus on the quiz. As per usual, first president to 3 points wins. Question number 1. What is the name of the cursed sword that Zoro received in Logtown?
Whip!
Donald.
Wado. Oh, wait, the cursed sword is not the Wado Ichimonji. It's the. I don't even know.
That is obviously the Sandai Kitetsu given to Zoro by Ippon
Fuck, the Tetsus.
Matsu in chapter 97 of the series, which is also called Sandai Kitetsu.
Correct. That's 1 point to Donald. Next up, we have a visual question. Who is this character?
Oh, that is Frankie's. I swear it's an American name. Come on, boys. It's like. Is it Italian, kind of? It's like Julia. No.
Joe.
That's Kiwi from the Frankie
Kiwi.
family on Water
That's not
7.
Whip! Wrong, Sleepy Joe. That's clearly Mozu.
I'm afraid Donald is correct.
What? That's not fair. They look exactly alike.
Wow, Joe, that's the most racist thing I've heard since my speech to CPAC this morning.
I'm going to have to concur, Joe. This is starting to remind me a lot of Who's racist remarks towards Jinbei in
For real, is this fucking Trump or Tekken, bro?
chapter 1018 during the Onigashima raid.
The raid should have failed.
I'm sorry, Barack, but I don't know how to tell them apart.
Oh my God, it's painfully easy, Joe. Mozu is the one who looks like a kiwi fruit, and kiwi is the one who doesn't look like a kiwi fruit.
That seems intentionally confusing.
Be that as it may, Donald takes the point and is now one question away from winning the quiz. Next, and potentially final question. Who plays Luffy in the Funimation dub of One Piece?
In the Funimation dub?
That is obviously Colleen Clinkenbeard.
Correct. 1 point to Joe.
Oh, shit.
Did you do that on purpose, Obama? You know I have a medical exemption from watching the dub. The horrible voice acting and localization make it more torturous than Zoro absorbing Luffy's bubble pain on Thriller Bark.
At least Zoro had the decency to shut up about it and say nothing happened.
Joe, you can't seriously expect me to listen to the pristine
Medical
vocals of Goddess
exemption.
Mayumi Tanaka for 20 years and then accept anyone else in the role of Luffy.
Donald, the question was, who plays Luffy? Not please give me an incoherent and elitist ramble regarding the criminally underrated Funimation dub.
Damn you, Obama!
Moving on with the quiz. Next question. In the official Viz translation,
Oh my God!
what are the names of the leaders of the mink tribe? Joe.
Easy, Barack. That's Dogstorm and Cat Viper.
Correct.
Whip. Wrong. Even if that is what the official translation says, the only correct answer is...
Oh, wait, that's, I missed the question. I wasn't paying attention. I was reading chat.
In the official Viz translation,
Oh my God!
what is this ramble regarding the criminally underrated Funimation dub?
Damn you, Obama!
Moving on with the quiz. Next question. In the official Viz translation,
Oh my God!
what are the names of the leaders of the mink tribe?
Cat boy and dog boy, obviously.
Joe.
Easy, Barack. That's Dogstorm and Cat Viper.
Correct.
Whip. Wrong. Even if that is what the official translation says, the only correct answer is Inuarashi and Nekomamushi.
Biden is Animac, obviously. Bad takes and falls asleep.
Dog,
He's old.
corn, and cat butt wiper sound stupid and should never have been literally translated from a pragmatic perspective.
Dog corn and cat butt wiper are incorrect, Donald. Joe takes the point.
Suck it, dumbass. I'm going to beat you and become both the president and the quiz king.
You're rigging the quiz, Obama. This is an unprecedented fraud in the One Piece community.
Nobody is rigging the quiz, Donald.
Who gave you these questions, Obama? Was it Dominion? I knew it was Dominion.
Nakama, please. The next correct answer wins the quiz. Our final question is, when did Luffy become an emperor of the sea? Joe.
The undeniably...
When did Luffy become an emperor of the sea? Well, there was the first time when he was the 5th emperor, but does that count? And then the second time after beating Kaido. But
correct answer is that Luffy became an emperor of the sea after Whole Cake Island.
Whip. Wrong. Cheating Obama is using another nasty trick question.
What the hell are you talking about, Donald? After Whole Cake Island, an article was published in the World Economy newspaper claiming that Luffy had become the 5th emperor of the sea.
Oh, please. Do you believe everything published by fake news, Morgans, Joe?
He's a credible journalist, Donald.
How can there be 5 Yonko, Joe?
What?
Y-O-N-K-O. Yonko, Joe. It means 4 emperors. How can there be 4 emperors?
There were 4 and then Luffy became the 5th.
Then why aren't they called the Goko, Joe?
Because nobody knows what a Goko Joe is.
Oh my God. I don't get it. This is a trick question from the predictably cheating Obama. The correct answer is that Luffy never became an emperor.
Are you such a Zoro fanboy that you became him and accidentally lost your own mind, Donald? Even if I was wrong about Whole Cake Island,
After
post
Wano.
Wano, Luffy is definitely an emperor.
Whip. Wrong.
Stop buzzing, Donald. You're only supposed to buzz when you answer a question.
Whip.
Barack, he won't stop buzzing.
Whip.
If he doesn't stop buzzing, then I'm going to have to buzz too.
Oh, now you're buzzing, are you, Joe? What happened? I thought you were only supposed to buzz when you were answering a question.
That's right, I'm buzzing, Donald. I'm buzzing because you won't stop buzzing.
oh my God.
We've had 46 presidents of the United States, and somehow these are the only 2 caught up with the manga.
I can't believe you disconnected me, Obama.
Yeah, Barack, that was uncalled for. I had that situation entirely under control.
Joe, you had about as much control over that situation as Impel Down Warden Magellan has control over his bowels.
I can't believe you shit your pants, Joe.
I did not shit my pants, Donald.
While you clean up, Joe, I've got a question for you. Have you heard of Rob Lucci?
Of course, I've heard of Rob Lucci. He was the primary antagonist of the entire Water 7 saga and the de facto leader of CP9, not counting Spandam.
That's the first thing you've gotten correct all day, Joe. Now here's the next question. What did Rob Lucci say in chapter 1071? Do you remember, Joe?
Of course I remember what he said, Donald. Lucci said,
Did Lucci really say that?
Darn it! I pressed the darn buzzer by mistake.
Well, let me remind you, Joe. Rob Lucci said that he doesn't view Luffy as a Yonko.
So what? We both know that Lucci doesn't have the authority to make that decision.
Neither does Fake News Morgan's, Joe. And who's a more trustworthy source on this matter? An agent working for the world government or a bird in a balloon?
You know what I think, Donald?
Joe, not even you know what you think.
I think you're a Rob Lucci dick rider, Donald.
How dare you accuse me of dick riding, you dick rider?
Dick rider.
We both know you're the one who rides
Dick
all
rider.
the dicks,
Dick
Joe.
rider.
Even if
Dick
I wanted to
rider.
ride a
Dick
dick,
rider.
I can't
Dick rider.
because you're
Dick
hogging
rider.
all the dicks.
Dick rider.
Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. Just who are you calling a dick rider?
Trump,
Still
honey.
recording the podcast, Jill.
I don't care what you're recording, Joe. I will not have that kind of foul language being used in our home.
But Jill, it's Donald. He keeps saying that Luffy isn't an emperor.
Joe, I don't care if he said that Shanks would lose to Mihawk in a fight. That still wouldn't be an excuse for calling someone a dick rider.
But Jill.
No, Joe, I've had enough of this. I'm going to speak to Donald.
Jill, no.
Hello?
Hello, Mrs.
Hello,
Biden.
Mrs. Biden.
Now, Donald J. Trump, I'm only going to say this once. As far as the world is concerned, Luffy is a fully fledged emperor of the sea. Big News Morgans may have given him that title, but Luffy more than earned it. He's the only pirate to have invaded Enies Lobby, Impel Down, and Marineford. He defeated 3 warlords of the sea, Donald, 3, and led the attack on Onigashima, which directly resulted in the defeat of both Big Mom and Kaido. If that's not enough to be considered an emperor, then I don't know what is.
But Mrs. Biden.
Don't you Mrs. Biden me, you out of season Sky Pumpkin. I will not have you slandering the future pirate king. Now, what do you have to say for yourself, Donald?
Luffy is a Yonko.
I can't hear you, Donald.
Luffy is a Yonko.
Ego onegai shimasu, Donald-san.
Luffy is an emperor.
Good. Now, Joe also tells me that you had a critique of One Piece Movie 6, Baron Omatsuri and the Secret Island.
That's not true, Mrs. Biden. Baron Omatsuri is an undisputed masterpiece. The unique animation style and visionary direction of Mamoru Hosoda easily makes it one of the best films in the entire One Piece cinematic catalog.
That's what I thought. Now, you play nicely with my precious little Joseph. And Barack, please say hi to Michelle for me.
Yes, Mrs. Biden.
Oh my god.
All right, guys, I'm back.
Well, with that, it's time to announce the results of the quiz. Whilst an interview in One Piece magazine stated that Luffy could more accurately be referred to as the man who stood beside the 4 emperors after Whole Cake Island, as far as series canon goes, this was when Luffy became an emperor.
Rigged.
Which means that Joe is correct and has the 3 points needed to win.
Stop the count.
Suck it, Donald. I beat you at the pirate quiz.
This is going all the way to the Gorosei Obama.
Does he mean the Supreme Court?
Joe, I think we should seriously consider asking Bill to catch up to the series.
Oh my god. Why was this the best thing I've ever watched? Okay, we gotta subscribe to this channel 100%.